Do you know what I like the most about this podcast, Eddie?
What's that?
How it magically gets edited every time.
No, that's me.
Yeah, it is very convenient. We just throw it into a box and it's just cleaned up in a week by magic.
No, that's not magic. That's Pro Tools. That's me on Pro Tools. That's me doing it. It's hard work.
It's so comfy, you know. So you were saying something, Galen?
I was saying you two clearly need to figure out the difference between what I'm doing and actual magic. Why don't we take a closer look? Welcome to the Music Arcade. Hello, everyone. I'm Galen, apparently the wizard guy, Firestone.
I'm Michiel, and my favorite Magic the Gathering schoolmate is Silver Quill.
And I'm Eddie, and Ore no turn, Dark Magician no Shokan.
What an intro.
Yep, we're off to the races
Yu-Gi-Oh!
on this
fans
one.
got it.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans got it.
I'm sure they did.
I actually butchered it because I used the English name of the card, but still.
I'm sure the Japanese name is like Dark Magician.
No, it's Buraku Magician.
Yeah, okay.
Because
Sorry, completely different.
Totally different.
My bad. I would like to formally apologize to Konami and the entirety of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fandom.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's Konami, Upper Deck, or 4Kids to blame, but they thought that they shouldn't mention black magic, because black magic is satanistic, but dark magic, that's fine.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, that sounds like...
Yeah.
Welcome to the Music Arcade.
Shenaniganery is afoot.
Yeah, even beyond that intro, I feel like from the selection, we all got pretty inspired by the theme.
You know, I say this from time to time, but when we get overly specific on themes, I feel like it restricts us, but giving us a very kind of broad theme lets us kind of stretch our legs a little bit.
Yeah, which is why I like to alternate a little.
Yeah, the funny thing on my end is that, we landed on the theme right as I was having an extremely busy day at work, so I was like, okay, we have a theme. I'll think about it over the weekend. And then I finished work and I had 3 picks. So okay, I guess.
Good enough.
I guess that I awoke something in me.
I had one pick pretty much immediately, inspired in part by a beta pick for the episode that was since cut, and in part by something Rana said a few episodes ago before my trip to Vegas. And then one other pick.
Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you.
It was fun.
It was very fun. I'll talk about it a little bit during Now Playing.
Hopefully it was magical.
We somehow did not manage to catch a single magic show. I am mildly to moderately disappointed by this. I love going to shows in Vegas, and the only one I saw was a touring orchestra show. I don't feel right about this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
One of my picks was just something that had been bouncing around in my head, and then the last one was... I don't know, I just felt hipsterish and decided to shout out a older, more unknown sort of game. Kind of spread the word a little bit.
Fair enough. Well, one of my pick is the one we're going to start with.
Let's do it.
Which is Corridor of Memories from Vagrant Order, a game I played like once and then never continued because it just wasn't my thing.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it on here.
Yeah, because it's not in my main rotation. I don't know much about the rest of the soundtrack, but I think this one landed in my repertoire of tracks I know of because I was looking for tracks that are cool and composed to get in the tank when I'm playing some card games, whether it's to illustrate some Hearthstone at the time, some Magic the Gathering Arena, stuff like that, or just brew deck for paper. And I think that's how I got it recommended, and I kinda love this track.
It's pretty great, honestly.
Sounds really neat.
I love the guitar on this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's on an atmospheric level where my mind first goes when I'm thinking of Magic. The preparation phase, the research, the thoughtfulness, the high spires and musty libraries. because the first step to cast a fireball is to work 8 years on your college degree.
I think it's kind of funny that you say you talk about the preparation phase, because the first thing that came to my mind is that this would work really well in an early game Suikoden village.
Yeah,
I
can see that as well.
My note says here, almost tavern music. Like, I could hear this in a game like The Witcher if The Witcher had a better soundtrack. I sound like I'm dunking on The Witcher soundtrack, but it's actually not that bad.
I was gonna say shots fired.
Yeah, that was not really how I meant that to come across, but I do like this better than what I've heard from The Witcher, I'll be honest, but it doesn't make that bad. I'm not expressing myself correctly here.
It is a good soundtrack that just isn't your thing.
Yeah. But a tavern when it's not rush hour, it's the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or maybe a tavern in a particularly magical world, because even through the more grounded song, you would hear the magical culture around it.
Absolutely, and we'll certainly come to that idea of contrast on a later track that I feel illustrates it better. But for this one, when it comes to the instrument, they all really work together to contribute to building a calm and collected and harmonious feel. The piano notes are brushed gently. The guitar is very focused in a very predictable, comfortable way. Even the percussion, like the hits, yes, but it's in this very stuffed, very warm way where you can almost hear the finger and the nail landing separately.
We will have that conversation later as well.
Wonderful. And it all makes it feel collected, but not cold, which I think is an important distinction to make it magical, but with a focus not just on the magic in the abstract, but on the person that's on the center of it. Whoever is on their 8th cup of magical coffee and working overtime, not because they really have to or because they're really under pressure, but because they're just so much into that 12 tomes encyclopedia about arcanic whatever shmi magic. I don't want to say a different take on this, but I feel like I need to bring it up. I've played a few different Fate Muso games now, one by Koei and two by Marvelous. None of them had a particularly good soundtrack. And even having brought up music from Fate Extella Link or Fate Samurai Remnant before, my general impression is that Fate's music is just not that good. This is probably the best song I've ever heard out of the general Fate soundtrack meta-universe existence. Fair. It's certainly one that left a positive mark on me, and
understandably, it's great.
I feel like a lot of the DNA from the Fate soundtrack comes from its origins, both in visual novel form and anime form. Yeah. And this feels very detached from that and kind of focused on the thematic and the characters it covers. I believe it's Leonardo da Vinci on the illustration for the track and probably tied to an event related to her, but again, I don't know the context for the track's use.
I saw a little bit of the comments, and it mentioned Tiamat. I know very little about her, except fan art where this giant kaiju is doing just totally normal stuff, like going to the bank or baking cookies is something weirdly that happens in this community, and I love it.
All right, I like the energy.
I just had a moment here where you said Leonardo da Vinci, and I went, oh, right, it's that franchise.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Look, you can put me in front of Godzilla doing his taxes, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Exactly. Same vibe. So I don't know who this is either. But Fate is a very, very weird universe.
Indeed. And the fact that this works to establish this atmosphere, even without a known context, is to the credit of the track, honestly.
Yep. think it works really well for a fantastical, magical setting.
Absolutely. Now then, let's move on to the next one and talk about Presentiment Clock Tower.
So, Dark Savior is one of those games that I think 16 people grand total have played. It was this bizarre 3D half platformer, half fighting game, half RPG, half something on the Sega Saturn.
It sounds like the only game I can think of that would work as a comparison point for what you just said would be Guys, which is already weird in its own way.
You know what? Those two are very different games, but they have a very similar energy in how weird they are. So I kind of see where you're coming from here.
Wonderful.
This game, I talked about this game once before, ages ago, and I think you, Rana, was the one who sussed out that this has something to do with Climax as a company.
I see.
Anyway, this game is weird. I love it. It is... I have said that, like, if I ever get rich and famous, one of the first things I'm doing is finding out who owns the rights to this, buying the rights, or at least licensing them, and putting together a remake.
That's the kind of energy we need in this world.
Absolutely. This is one of these games that I think more people should play. It stars a bounty hunter named Garion, and the very first thing you do on this is decide which timeline, which route you're going to be playing, entirely based on how quickly you get through the intro dungeon.
Oh, okay.
So, right out of the gate, this game comes out swinging. And if you know what you're doing, you can do the later routes first because you're just quick. The Silver Castle, in particular, is one of the more, I say iconic, but again, not many people have actually played this damn game, songs on the soundtrack. And that's kind of where all of the, like, timeline shenaniganry happens.
I see.
And
a point of convergence of sorts.
Yes. To the point where you actually get hit with the fourth parallel, the fourth bout out of 5, where now all of a sudden you have 1 hour to live because your other self is in the same universe and you will annihilate each other if you both remain in the same universe, so one of you has to go.
Typical.
Typical?
I hate when that happens.
Right? So this is one of these songs that kind of hits the energy. And then the main gimmick of the game is kind of funny. As you're going through these dungeons, the random battles are a fighting game system. Like, it really tries hard to be Street Fighter, just in a weird isometric. This is a weird battle system. But certain major enemies, if you knock them down when they're low on health, you, like, steal their soul and then can become them in later fights.
I see.
So
that's how you expand the roster.
That's how you expand the roster. So this game is like, it's got alternate timelines, shape-shifting, Kay's hair somehow actually managing to work. This game is really magical.
They don't make hair like they used to.
They don't make hair like they used to. You've seen that, you see that cover, you can see what she's working with here. That is as late 90s as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, not to bring the intro back, but that's close to some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
Right?
Yeah, no, fair point of comparison, honestly.
So yeah, I put this song on here because this is one of those games that's just always been like, more people need to know about this game and more people need to play it. It's so cool, and it's a weirdo widget title on the Sega Saturn.
I take it some of the forms you can take up are more magical, zoning oriented.
The ones I remember, okay, so not being a fighting game expert, I tended to favor what I believe were called rushdown characters. Get up in their face and mess them up.
That's the correct term.
Cool. I'm trying to remember if there were any particularly magical ones. There were some magic weapons. I remember in the fourth parallel, Garion's bounty hunting buddies actually show up, and you don't have to beat them in oh no, you do have to kind of beat them in combat, but they were extremely powerful.
Okay.
The fourth parallel was the one where Garion was weirdly weak, and you actually really needed to rely on your shapeshifting.
I see.
I guess by then they assumed you've been through 3 other parallels where you've been playing as Gary, and it's time to mix it up.
All right. And as far as the music itself, I wrote in my note, besides the remark about the hair, that this kind of feel like the minor key version of a cool heroic track, which gives it a bit of a Castlevania vibes. So the fact you say this is a theme for a central castle makes perfect sense with that kind of energy.
Mm-hmm. There are 3 central...
But that makes sense.
I'm sorry?
I didn't think in those terms, but that makes sense. I can see the Castlevania vibes.
Yep. Also, I should say that this game was 3D jank, and the platforming segments were god-awful terrible. So, you hear this song a lot because you're going to restart a ton.
Yeah, I think... the actual video you shared for the song, for the playlist, it has, like... First off, I have a feeling that of those 12 people you said have played the game, a solid 10 might be Brazilian, because the channel name seems like a Brazilian name, and the only comment is by someone who appears to speak Iberian Portuguese. But
nice.
The only comment there says that the song is emotional, and you keep you have to keep climbing the tower all the time. So he's not complaining about climbing, but I think I can sense the vibe there.
The trauma.
Yeah, I think the way he wrote the comment might be Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah,
that's
many
fair.
such cases.
That's fair. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate using the S word, but this game would probably be reconfigured into a pretty awesome Souls-like if you gave it that kind of modern treatment.
Oh yeah, that makes sense with what you've said. Also, as part of the central theme for this episode, I will say the most magical part I can think of is the initial build-up. The way the violin ramps up in phases with some pause and some ramping up. It's like charging a big spell.
I didn't catch that. You're right. No, that intro is banger. This game is really good on intros. I wish the actual sound font was better, because as you can hear, this was using some jank 32-bit virtual instruments.
That was, if you were wondering which age of gaming this came from, the sound font tells you.
Oh, yeah. I said before, the last time I brought this game up, that I think the composition stands despite the crappy instruments, and I think this song...
Agreed.
Yeah, I think the song's a good example of that.
Pretty neat.
All right, that's all I got.
Then how about we move on to some Age of Wonders 4 and Sphere of Influence?
Yeah, my picks are going to be very obvious, as we were talking prior to recording, because they scream, yes, that's something he would play. So Age of Wonders 4 is more peaceful songs. They generally have this vibe of like, yes, you're doing things that are more grounded, but you are still in a very magical world. So this is happening in a very magical world. And I think on this song you can hear that from the first note, because I don't know what that sound is. I don't know what that instrument is, but it sure sounds mystical to me.
It's interesting. I like how this one adds instruments as it goes. I think the build-up is nice.
Yeah, and there's something very intriguing about the way some of the instruments, especially the groups of instruments, are played very tightly together, like they're almost too synchronized to be a natural occurrence, which adds an air of artificiality that feels intentional.
I don't know.
That especially struck me with the strings about halfway through, I believe.
Interesting. I guess I'm just so jacked into how logic works, I just figured this was just the composer just lining up timelines. So I guess that kind of went over my head.
I mean, different perspectives of, as ever. Subjectivity is always implied, but what I got from it was perhaps influenced by the very name of the track. This idea of this mage standing atop his tower, watching his domain and having control over it. And that's why everything is moving. There's not a single hair out of place. It's still got a warm quality to it. It's still charming. This doesn't have a moral judgment of benevolence, of malevolence. It's just mystical control or a way to oversee something where you know what you expect. These are your lands. This is the core of your nation where there's not a danger of immediate invasion and where you're just building your economy and adding to your cities whatever next step you have to your big city building element.
It is interesting that you brought up the song title because the game has a mechanic that is similar to the city states from Civilization. I think they're just called minor factions in Age of Wonders. And the way you build your influence with them is you have whispering stones, which are green spheres that you slot into their interface. And
essentially, you give them a Palantir.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's a green Palantir. Just that's the only difference. And
unless, of course, you're playing the new dark faction in which the Whispering Stones are replaced by kidnapping.
Yeah, I think there's one other culture trait that also removes the Whispering Stones, but that one's because you're meant to just destroy everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So good Palantir, not evil Palantir.
Well, Palantir aligned to whatever alignment new faction is.
Fair enough. But yeah, this whole song, I think most of the peaceful songs in this game, they do have this vibe of things being deliberate. Like it's not fully organic, let's say. It's not folk.
Exactly. Like the wind instruments are enchanting, but they're contrasted by, like I said, the strings and the percussion that adds an orderly element to it. But yeah, it's a great... I'm at top of my big wizard tower and I'm looking down calmly and it's a pleasant afternoon, day, night, whatever. And things are proceeding as expected.
Okay, I dig that.
Which is pretty much when it plays. It only plays when you're in a peaceful state looking at the world map. If you're at war or if you're in an actual battle, there's a different set of music that can play in those situations.
Of course.
Yeah, I just want to start our next song conversation with the first sentence in my notes for it.
By all means.
How in the hell?
Yeah. Tim Follin doesn't mess around.
Yeah.
Because we're starting with a little few notes of quaint adventure, happy-go-lucky, and surprise, I'm actually a super jacked wizard.
Yeah.
It's explosive.
Here's the NES sounding like the SNES.
Yeah, the most magical thing about this is what they were able to do with that NES sound chip. This is amazing on a technical level. I am so impressed by this song.
Yeah, no, that's... I mean, I cut it, and then the rest of the composer's output has been arranged in a playlist named Tim Follin is a God. And honestly, like, if you haven't heard, I recommend to look for the main menu theme for NES Pictionary. because
Can we-
it should be illegal for an NES Pictionary main menu theme to be such a banger.
I need to check that. Why does this go so hard?
I know.
Right?
It's Pictionary. Good lord.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the music when actually doing the puzzle sounds like that, because that would be either a nightmare or heaven.
Oh, yeah.
No in between.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if he's ready to deploy the heavy weapons for Pictionary, you know that Solstice is going to deliver. And it's got this amazing energy. It's intense, but never goes fully out of control. It's got a pace that drags you forward and then gets interrupted and goes swoosh and tap and and it feels like there's magical sound effects that are happening across the music, controlling the pace. It's action majory right there.
Yeah, like I thought I didn't know what game this was until I actually, because I had to look into some gameplay footage to make sure
Of course.
that it was legit, right?
Yeah.
That seems
that it
impossible.
was an actual game from the time and not a retro style track. I understand why you would assume that.
Yeah, we do live in a world where Silver Gunner exists, right?
Exactly. This sounds like the kind of things that would sit proudly in a track for Shovel Knight or Mina the Hollower.
This is
but
kind of the opposite of the point I made at the start of the episode. In this case, it's like we have a wide option so we can do whatever we want. In this case, you have such limited options that you have to really stretch to do something amazing. I'm still just so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really squeezing the chip for all that it's worth.
You say that, but it sounds like you have limited options, so you can do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
It's magical in a very meta sense in this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's in my notes. Truly magic has been executed here, is what I wrote down.
No. Exactly. I wouldn't know exactly how this relates to the gameplay because I have definitely played this game, but probably at the time, so it's been like 30 years and I don't remember anything. It's a menu theme anyway. It's there to set up an atmosphere, and what an atmosphere it sets up with the means it has. Wonderful little piece, and it only came after I put out the theme, and I was like, oh that's going to go further in time than any other track, and it's still going to be really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that song cannot be ignored.
Indeed. And another song that cannot ever be ignored is Only One Generation of Systems Away.
Corridors of Time, which almost didn't make the cut for the episode. But I do before going to the song itself, from obviously Chrono Trigger, if you're not familiar with the song title. Before going to the actual song itself, I do want to shout out, because this came out this cover came out less than a week ago as of the time of this recording, and it popped in my recommendations like a couple hours before we were supposed to start recording, and I went, that's going in.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting for
the algorithm may be an all-controlling force that seeks to define your taste, but sometimes it's got your back.
So I need a monologue for like a minute.
Oh boy.
Okay. Go.
This song makes me angry. I'm angry at this. I am angry that it is on this list. I am angry as I was when I had to put composer's cover of BFG Division on the episode about explosions. This is the most obvious song in the history of the topic. And yet, when a cover is this good, I'm angry because we have to talk about it. We have to take up episode time on the most obvious thing in the universe because it's too good.
I get it. The first 3 words of my notes were all capital. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
if it makes you feel a little bit better, the main reason that put it over the edge where I went, okay, this has to go in, was the dude doing the cover, which
Oh yeah.
I asked Rana, please put this after the Solstice song, because there is a through line here. Solstice was the composer doing magic with a very limited sound chip. This is a dude doing magic with how many instruments he can play.
Yeah, and in both cases, we even have a tie back to the intro joke, where the magic is actually hard work.
Yeah, this guy is very impressive.
Yeah, I legit had to look up his channel, see how long he's been doing this stuff for, because I wanted to make sure I didn't get got by AI, because it's like way too many instruments. He has videos where he plays songs with over 100 instruments, and it's just him.
Isn't it wonderful we live in a day where every time we get positively impressed by something, we have to do like a few minutes of investigative work to make sure we're not getting deceived? So you were all real enthusiastic, and I had to bring you down for a moment.
Yeah,
well, you did. Thanks.
I am the melancholic guy. You have to keep my levels stable.
You're welcome. Your brand is safe.
No, but yeah, the dude actually lists on the video description the instruments he used. So I want to share with anyone listening to this podcast. For this cover specifically of Corridors of Time, he used a sitar, which, hey, a cover with an actual sitar, that's rare.
Love to see it.
Yeah, so a sitar, an oud, a harp, a vibraphone, a violin, a viola, a cello, a double bass, 2 flutes, an alto flute, an udu drum, a djembe, a finger cymbal, 2 tambourines, and shakers.
An partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, pretty much. So the guy is named, according to his YouTube channel description, Luke Pickman. So shout outs to Luke Pickman. Please don't pick an instrument, man. Pick everything. Continue that trend.
Yeah. And it's really elevates and pay a suitable tribute to a legendary song that's iconic of this nation risen above the skies, built on ancient magic a secret. It's enchanting because the whole domain is enchanted.
Yeah, I'd say that Corridors of Time kind of codified the use of the sitar for fantasy nations in the JRPGs. You hear that a lot after Chrono Trigger.
And I wanted to dig a little bit into it myself because I started to wonder, is the secret to a magical theme really just a touch of the ancient and a touch of the far away from a Western point of view? And I looked into seeing if, say, an antiquity theme for a Middle Eastern nation would work in Civ 7 as a magic theme. And turns out, no, the vibe is completely different. There's more work than just something ancient and exotic to it. And it's nice to see that while it's hard to identify exactly what are the touches that separate that kind of historic point of view from something for mystical, it's nice to know that it exists, it's been captured, it's been reflected, and it can be felt right away.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. I hadn't thought of the issue of Orientalism, is how actual ethno-musicians call it.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of whether that would be involved, but it's glad to know that it doesn't seem like it.
It's more than just that, let's say. There is more to magic than just, hey, other culture, lend me your music for a while.
It's hard for me to talk about this song in particular, because it's so, like I said, it's the most obvious song in the history of the topic. It practically defines the topic from a video game standpoint.
It's hard to talk about the song just like it's hard to talk about One Winged Angel, for instance.
Yeah, it's like, what can I possibly add to this? Mitsuda's a genius. This song's great. Next.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to focus on the cover artist, because that's
entirely
basically
fair.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this cover artist is a miracle, but there we have it.
Oh, yeah. Well, the next sounded rhetorical, but let's go next anyway, now then. And talk about Rose's theme from Street Fighter V.
So, Rose comes off as a more magical character, which I actually have to call kind of BS on, because the main character can throw magic fireballs. So, no, everyone's doing this.
Yeah.
But Rose has the more wizardy vibe, for lack of a better term. Modern day fortune teller turned magician, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are some characters that are more wizardy. Like, if you compare her with Bison, they use light and dark magic of this. Well, the light and dark side of the same power, but the way they use it is very different. And the only other character I can think of that really matches her on I'm a magic user in a Street Fighter game kind of way would be JP from 6.
Okay. I don't actually know that character, so I'm not really able to respond to that.
He's an old guy with a cane that summons big spikes of dark energy.
Okay, so
I've seen him.
The most wizard of all wizard in the Street Fighter universe. Got it.
Yeah. He just needs the hat, honestly.
I was gonna say the Street Fighter Gandalf.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so this particular mix, I usually listen to the Street Fighter 4. That's probably the soundtrack I've listened to the most over the years. But I'm like, let's see what happens if I just type in Street Fighter OST Rose and just leave the number out. And I ran into the one from 5. I didn't even know she was in 5. I guess she was a DLC character.
Yeah, I think she was in the second season.
From what I've seen, she was added with the Champion Edition at some point. Specifically, the Champion Edition, not the base game.
Okay.
She was also very good at the time. I think she made it to finals multiple times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's good to see someone other than Ken and Balrog. I'll be honest.
Indeed.
The fact that I know that at all says an awful lot, doesn't it? Like, that's how big those finals can get, apparently.
Yeah, I'm just nodding my head here because Street Fighter is not a scene I follow.
It's not a scene I follow either, and I've heard this crap anyway, so that's the point I'm trying to make right now.
I have more stories on the topic, none of which would be relevant to this episode.
Fair enough, so let's actually get back to the actual song. This one, like, if the Street Fighter 4 version has a more Mega Man X vibe, I'd say this one's actually leaning more Castlevania-ish.
Yeah. That's entirely fair. Like,
the comparison I made personally was that it felt like a JRPG battle theme rather than a fighting game theme.
Yeah, and it would be perfectly at home in a fantasy setting. It wouldn't be that remarkable in such a setting. No. But they put it in a Street Fighter game. The other songs help contextualize it and make it otherworldly in this way.
Which is funny, because of the Street Fighter 4 version, the main refrain is actually done on a very heavy guitar, so it really does sound like a fighting game song more so than this one does. But I don't know, I think that's part of this one's charm.
The pace
it is
still
weird.
matches, but yeah, absolutely. It's giving you little babies are playing with cubes while I'm playing with chess and also look very stylish while doing it. Which is a great reflection of the character.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, no, like, I saw that pick enter the playlist and I was like, oh, that's such a good pick. Because that's not the kind of game, the kind of setting where you'd expect a magical theme to thrive. But magic shines all the brighter in the unexpected.
This song is cool. I like how it strings together. Here's yet another very, very, very obvious pick from our notorious Atelier fan, Rorona. How about an Atelier song?
Rorona, you play Atelier?
I do, in fact. Thank you for asking. You would think this would be a soundtrack ripe with many examples, but despite its alchemical promise, Atelier Rorona is, especially musically, something that's more focused on the homeliness of it all. It's a lot of themes that are more about the familiar, the pastoral, the comfortable field themes, forest themes, and so on. But if you want your best ingredients, sometimes you just gotta walk past the comfy forest, past the sweet and pleasant lake, and into the part of the world map plunged in eternal darkness with floating geography and traces of the arcane. The funny part too for that area is that for how fantastic it is, the explanation for why it's a thing aren't really there or that obvious. You're just doing that because you need the ingredients to do your actual objective, which is to prevent the industrial revolution to evict you. And so this is a mystical area that is encountered without the pressure of a world and dungeon threat associated with it. It's dark but not oppressive, so it lets you kind of enjoy the sinister beauty of the weird gravitational shenanigans, which I think is an interesting nuance in it.
I don't think I would have picked on that based on the song alone, because the
Yeah.
song sounds very earthy to me.
Yeah, it's on a more strictly magical part. One of the things that I like in particular is the way the brass comes in really short bursts of pum, 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 pum. It's almost like you're watching your head to avoid being hit by a floating magic rock. But at the same time, there's the flute that keeps it light and mellow, and it's an endgame area, but it's nothing you can take on. It's spectacle, but you belong there. There's even a bit of choir for a flair of the dramatic, but it's very late and very light. It's like hinting that there's a bigger story, but it's not yours right now. And yeah, I brought it here because there's this kind of strange aspect. It's obviously a place infused with magic that's went wild, but there's also this contrast with the setting that really makes it work and really made this area leave an especially strong impression on me.
So, here's a couple of my thoughts. One, love the marimba on this. It feels great throughout this song.
Oh, yeah.
Just a really cool use of instrument here. I like the flutes. Here is my take from it. It feels almost tactical RPG. Like, if I were playing an indie Tactics Ogre clone like Fell Seal, I could imagine this song in there.
Oh, yeah. That would work nicely. The pace is right.
Mm-hmm.
The energy would work. Yeah, no, I'm into it. Which is all the more funny because the very first Atelier game, while they had a JRPG style encounter, they did happen on a grid, and so they were closer to a tactical RPG originally. Very downsized, but there too.
Yeah, now I'm just remembering Persona 1. That game had a weird battle system.
Can't say I remember it.
On the subject of only 16 people playing
Just
it.
like Atlas, am I right?
That's another one we managed to avoid. We don't have anything from Sega as far as I can tell in here.
Yeah. Magic is a vast domain, and we only have so much time.
Yeah. On the subject of magic, let's talk about how one company managed to get a very strange metal-adjacent indie something folk something band into a video game.
Yes, so Hellblade 2 Senua Saga, which the little indie band that Galen is hinting at, that will be one Heilung, which the mention of the name to anyone who knows me will make you go, yeah, that's something that he would listen to. So the song specifically is Seidh. I think it can be pronounced Seidh. I'm not sure.
Seidh.
Yeah, the H at the end is like the Latinization of the letter F, which sounds like the, so it's Seidh. But that's me being a nerd about words. Some people might recognize this song as the song that they played at the Game Awards in 2023, which I can't believe was that long. My God, time is a lie.
I hate that you said that so much. I'm so angry at you right now.
Yeah, it was very funny to watch that incidentally, because you could, they were like spinning torches and stuff, and you could see some folks in the crowd looking at the exits just in case. But yeah, so one of the members of Heilung is actually a practitioner of neo-paganism, and he is considered a neo-shaman.
Cool.
His name is Kai, got a butchered pronunciation, Kai Uwe Faust. Hope I got somewhere close to the correct pronunciation there. But yeah, this is basically a ritual. The song title means magic. It means shamanism.
Okay.
Fair.
Yep. I just remembered this song, and I knew what the title meant. And when Rana mentioned the theme magic, I went, "Yep, that's going in."
That's magic. And to be more precise from the vibes of it, that's folk magic at work. Like, what I'm getting from it is multiple forces. Like, there's a danger all around, and you are an opportunity from them. But you're just trying to go through the day. I wouldn't call it 100% a cappella, because there's the marching that's used in lieu of percussion, but it's mainly voices. It's what I'd call a PvP song, in both the tone and the lack of instrumentation.
A PvP song. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a new term.
We're breaking new grounds every day.
Yeah, like it's hard to go wrong with Heilung when it comes to trying to represent Nordic magic, because that's basically everything they do. And this, the vibe I get is like maybe a female shaman in the center of a ritual. That's kind of what comes to my mind.
Yeah, that's fair as well.
But this,
But there's a very human aspect at the center of the magic practices.
yeah, and this is. I don't know if every song from the soundtrack that has Heilung members involved has all three, because Heilung is a trio that is supported by other musicians on tour.
Right.
Nice.
Maria.
Franz, Kai Uwe Faust, and I don't remember the other guy. So Kai, which is the guy I mentioned, he is the main male singer. He's the one who does the rough vocals, the growls. There's another guy who does
Christopher
cleaner.
Yule.
Yeah, that's the guy. Thank you. So Christopher does more, not necessarily clean vocals, but cleaner vocals. And he also does more instrumentation than Kai does in the live shows. And Maria Franz is just vocals, and she's the female singer. But yeah, I think they're technically on hiatus right now as a band, but they haven't broken up or anything. It's just they want to come back with more strength later.
Do you know what this plays in game?
I do not. I haven't played Hellblade 2 yet.
Okay.
I know this isn't trailer music, because the actual trailer for Hellblade 2 used a previous song by Hailong, just remixed.
Yeah, I remember it.
Like, it was one of their bigger songs. This was just introduced at the Game Awards a while back before the game's release. I don't know where it's used in the game proper. I am hoping I'm not wrong with the vibes of like this being a ritual and you being the center, because the trailers for the game kind of paint the idea of Senua being the leader of a tribe.
So
and there being rituals around her. So
unfortunately, that kind of brings up a point when it comes to Hailong, and that is all of their music kind of sounds like that.
basically,
Like, that's just me having listened to a few of their albums now. Not for a while. I should probably get back to that. And they are, like... ritualistic is the way I would put it. Quasi-religious is another phrase I could use here.
On both counts.
yeah, I think both would be correct. Like, again, one of them says he is a neo shaman. It straight up says he is. So I think they actually call their concert rituals live rituals, not seriously treating them as rituals, but like that's the vibe they're going for.
Meaning that the previous tracks where people were doing quote-unquote magic with how many instruments they know or how they use the chipset weren't really magic, but this one is. Got it.
Sure, why not? But I don't think it's supposed to be the music that this guy uses in his practices. But
Yeah, of course, could have
it's supposed
varied a
to
little bit.
invoke that vibe.
And
Yeah.
it invokes it very well, I'd say.
Yeah, they're really good at it. But I'd say their first album was a bit more interesting than their second album. They only have 2 studio albums, 2 live albums, and some songs in this game. Their first album actually was kind of trying to tell a bit of a story. Their second album felt a bit more like people noticed Maria Fran's voice, and so they centered the entire second album on her voice, and that was the plan. Versus the first album actually varying a bit more in mood. But I like it. Like, I enjoy their sound.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, when they come back from this break they're taking, they come back with also more variety, because we don't want like 10 albums that are the same thing.
Absolutely. But you know who else I want to come back in full force? The Dynasty Warriors series. That's right, that's one transition point.
So,
Fair.
recently we had Dynasty Warriors Origins. And in Dynasty Warriors Origins, an early game villain by the name of Zhang Jiao gets a massive glow up in a way that makes him, I think, maybe less interesting. Because this is something that's happened a few times with the Warriors franchise, where they start with a villain that's a joke, and then the joke goes on too long, and they reset the character. Now, that worked great with Yoshimoto Imagawa. I loved having Imagawa as someone actually threatening in Samurai Warriors 5.
Yeah.
But in Dynasty Warriors, Zhang Jiao, in part because in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, he was the first quote-unquote major boss to be taken down anyway, there was kind of no reason to have him as anything other than an intro character. So they could have fun with crazy ascetic wizard guy in somewhat slightly more grounded Dynasty Warriors. I say slightly because there's always been weird stuff going on, but this dude has, if you're gonna have anyone with a cane and magic ball spam, it's gonna be Zhang Jiao.
Absolutely.
And throughout the years, there have been really, really great songs that have come from the opening stages, from Dynasty Warriors 3, Yellow Storm, blah, 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 blah. I thought I was picking Dynasty Warriors 5, but then I listened to Dynasty Warriors 5, and I'm like, that is not the actual song I'm listening to. This is wrong. This is not the one I'm thinking of. I finally find it in Dynasty Warriors 6, which, despite its flaws, has a really great soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a clearly great example.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, if you want Crazy Wizard Zhang Xiao, the best version of this is Dynasty Warriors 7, but Dynasty Warriors 7 soundtrack was really weak.
If you want the voice for Crazy Wizard Zhang Xiao, the best one remains Dynasty Warriors 3, of course.
I actually disagree with that. I think 7 is really
Feel
where
the
he
might
peaked.
of my magic.
I know, that was the line that inspired me to even think of the guy, because you said that like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, I still remember, and I'm not even going to try to play on Doug Stone here, a sacrifice is required. I propose we offer the enemy. I love that line from Dynasty Warriors 7
too.
so much.
Really solid as well.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that they managed to keep the spirit without over-relying on the cheese of the past.
Yes.
A franchise can be both.
A franchise can be both. And Dynasty Warriors is weirdly kind of set up for that.
Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors Origins does take itself very seriously by comparison to the rest of the franchise. Almost to its detriment.
Indeed.
That said, Zhang Xiao is, at least as far as giant army versus army action games, a great example of magic ball spam and just having a magic character in that sort of environment.
Yeah. Although that's not quite the reason why you went that in the first place.
No, you posted, I think it was Zant from Hyrule Warriors.
Correct.
As one of your beta picks that ended up getting cut. Yeah. And I'm like...
Yeah, because I had to pare it down to 4 tracks, and I liked the way the piano, the distorted Twilight piano, worked for ambient dark magic feel, but then I had to make some cut, and it was It or Dark Domain, and I went with Dark Domain.
Understandably, that's a cool song.
But still, a very cool track, and yeah, Ignition still works because Zhang Xiao is still a wizard, even though I wouldn't say the music is all about that. It's more about, like the name suggests, the spark that ignites the events that will be depicted in the rest of the game.
Of course. And then, obviously, from Dynasty Warriors 5 to Dynasty Warriors 7, that's where you had the most, like, explicit magic in the stages, like Zhang Bao summoning whirlwinds, and Zhang Liang making phantom soldiers appear. Like, that's where you had...
The most explicit magic in the series, unless you count Kessen 2, of course.
Right, but that's getting kind of in the weeds. If you want to talk about the meta franchise, I've been playing Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes on your recommendation, and there's magic being slung around everywhere in that game. I could have picked any song from that and it would have been fine, but I also feel like that's kind of... I don't want to say cheating, but like...
Yeah. I think that's a better pick, what you ultimately went with.
Yeah. Let's go where magic is something interesting and not literally everywhere.
Exactly. Because when everything is magic, blah blah blah.
Basically, yes, yeah. Anyway, cool song, cool guitars, cool melody line. It's just cool Dynasty Warriors music. Yeah. Enjoy.
Now, you know what would be a really great follow-up to this high-action energy heavy guitar track?
A really slow, methodical, ethereal, quiet track, yeah.
Wonderful suggestion. Let's go with Queen of the Full Moon from Elden Ring, then. It's so floaty.
It's super floaty. Very twinkly, too.
It's like... Yeah, it's like you're on a lunar level of gravity. There's a long trail with the instruments, especially the percussion. It makes you feel kind of underwater, but I feel low gravity is a better way to describe it in this instance. But despite the slow pace, like, it sounds like it would be kind of a lit up, ambient, worrying, there might be a monster around the corner track, but no, it's a boss fight.
It's a boss fight, and it's a very weird one. Are you familiar with the boss fight?
I am somewhat, but I don't remember the details. Aren't there like supplicants and you have to pick out from them?
Yeah, so, basically, Rorona herself is floating in this, like, protective orb, and little power sparks are on these tiny enemies that continuously respawn. You've got to pick the right one, beat it up, you hit it enough time, you hit the correct one enough times, the thing shatters, Rorona herself becomes vulnerable. We'll talk about Rorona in a moment. Rorona herself becomes vulnerable, you beat her up, moves on to phase 2, where you're fighting a giant illusion version of her, where you have this, like, you're fighting on top of a lake, and there's this giant moon in the background, and she starts the fight with a giant FU laser.
Yeah.
And more aggressively magical.
Yeah, which kind of like my main takeaway from my notes, which is that ultimately, from both your perspective and the boss's perspective, this fight is a puzzle, not a brawl, and that's why it sounds like that.
Well, the first half is. The second half is definitely more of a brawl. Especially
True.
when she can
and
summon...
that's why it ramps up a little bit.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Okay, I've got to tell this story. So,
Go ahead.
she has summons, and these summons are very... In phase 2, specifically, when you're fighting on the lake top, she has summons. These summons are weirdly aggressive. Also, her, like, post-defeat line takes a while. So when watching Bingo Brawlers, I watched as Blueberry Brioche beats Rorona, wrong sister, beats Rorona, and then gets bodied by a troll, dies before enemy Feld comes up, and has to restart the fight after she already won it.
Oh, no.
So the most magical thing there is she can Kaizo trap you for no actual, like, no actual intention of her own.
Yeah.
She can metagame the game she's in.
She can.
Incredible. Overall, with the tone, I feel like there's a big contrast to be had with the Solstice track, because at the time, with this very high fantasy setting, we had the jacked up wizard screaming "Fireball!" But this one, it's more the magical researcher that's calmly stating magic missile about 10,000 times in a row.
That's fair. Rorona is considered an any percent boss. She used to be the main any percent route because she was easy enough to justify that before someone figured out a skip to get to Radahn super easily. So now that's the any percent route. Anyway, the short version is she isn't much of a boss compared to a lot of the other, like, major ones. So she is very calm by comparison. Except for her summons, which are apparently an absolute nightmare if you're not careful.
I believe it. I never went into the academy in my Elden Ring run, which I hadn't finished, but I basically went around, never really found the key, and just moved past and towards the capital.
Which is a totally valid way to play the game.
Exactly. It's open for a reason.
Yeah. Now, Rorona is this very twinkly, very ethereal, very, maybe not happy, but certainly less aggressive song, especially for Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Her sister, on the other hand, has zero chill.
Oh, yeah.
Rorona, the Twin Moon Knight, she literally comes out swinging because she's just got a couple of swords. And her phase 2 is she just ignites those swords on magical fire and just throws a whole bunch of extra spells into her repertoire. That is a fight that casuals are apparently, like, deathly afraid of. Speedrunners have figured that one out. But what's interesting is the contrast between these two songs. They share a lot of the same melody. Obviously, they're sisters.
They're related.
Yep. So it's cool kind of comparing these two tracks.
Yeah, to have more composed energy and the more Battle Magical Knights version of it that's more conventional high action.
Yeah.
Not to say it's expected or anything. Like, You're never going to find me say, ugh, it's just a cool tall armored knight with a sword that burns blue and a sword that burns red. That's what anyone would ever need in their lives.
How boring.
Right?
No.
Oh no, the best thing ever.
I will admit, I'm a bit of a Rorona fanboy. My vibe when it comes to FromSoft is apparently dual-wielding DLC lady bosses, I guess. Between like
Yeah,
Lady
brother.
Maria, Sister Freed, and now Rorona the Twin Moon Knight. I'm like, I love all three of them, and definitely if I were hiring bodyguards, they would be on my list.
Solid.
And then one other stupid thing is if apparently Rorona, one of Rolona's spells called Carrion Sovereignty is giant magic sword stupidity. Apparently is one of the best choice for Elden Ring no-hit runs if you get it for New Game
nice.
Plus. So, one more point in Rolona's favor as the cooler sister. She's got speedrun tech.
Yeah.
Or challenge run tech, I guess.
Sometimes, yeah, it's like it's the difference between the person that decided to put all their points in intelligence and the one that decided to min-max and go for the soft cap on multiple stats. You still got a lot of magic, but
I literally told you that community joke and you stole it. Good job.
like, I thought about that again, but thinking on the contrast and the specialization aspect and how that's a tonal difference, it just fit.
Yeah.
Hey, the community looks like it's doing great. Good for it.
The community's doing all right, although there are some weirdos who get real weird about certain details.
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
There's always those people.
How about we don't talk about them and we move on to the next and final track?
Yeah, how about I get weird about one of my favorite composers again?
Perfect.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so Kirill Pokrovsky from the Divinity franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Been a while.
In this case, Divinity 2 with the track Ancient Presence.
Yeah, Divinity 2 Ego Draconis or Divinity 2 The Dragon Knight Saga if you buy the full version. Not to be confused with Divinity Original Sin 2. That one was
Exactly.
by Borislav Slavov. Anyway, so this game in general, as with most of Pokrovsky's soundtrack, has this sense of magic being around with pretty much every track. I think I said in a previous episode that to me the soundtracks by Pokrovsky managed to create this sense of folk music for a world filled with magic that isn't ours, rather than just using folk music from our world as shorthand. But this song, it is not exactly folk music because it's not meant to be. It plays in a cave where you meet the oldest known dragon.
A cave, really? I wouldn't have expected that.
He's just known as the Patriarch.
No, in case the love suggested I was sarcastic, I was not. I actually got desert vibes from the track, not cave vibes, because of the wind and choice of instruments.
Yeah, maybe because the cave is big. This is a big boy. He's big. Like he's
so very large. He's huge, enormous.
I even checked the wiki to make sure I was remembering correctly, but he's called the Patriarch because he birthed some of the first species on the planet, and he might be as old as the planet itself. And
cool. Vast ancient presence. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, this was the one game in the franchise that had a mind reading mechanic where you could spend a bit of your XP to try and read the mind of the other person you're talking to. And often you would just get gossip that it's useless, but sometimes you would get a reward. For this case in particular, you could try to read his mind and you would get a skill point for your dragon form. but the text that comes with it says that you feel a pressure and pain in your head, and you're trying to escape his mind as fast as possible because you cannot comprehend the vast amounts of magic and knowledge in his mind.
That almost makes me think of some of the instruments at the start that feel like almost there's something tortured within.
Yeah, I can see that. I also wonder if he isn't the tortured. It's been a while since I played
Also
the game.
fair.
I don't quite remember all the details. But like you start the game as a dragon slayer in a situation where the dragons are being hunted down and there's only one left, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
And you kill that one that's supposedly the final one, and she actually gives her power to you, and you become the Dragon Knight, and you can transform into a dragon yourself, and your previous allies start hunting you down.
Cool.
So this guy is basically the only dragon left. It's a dragon that no one, at least it's not public knowledge that he is around, and he straight up calls you the Dragon Slayer when you meet at first. I don't think he's a boss, but he isn't happy about your existence at first. He eventually helps you out, but not immediately. So
I see.
It's possible that like he is in a tortured existence there, or at least a very melancholic one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that overall the track, like I said, I got the ancient desert vibe, maybe a bit of ruins, and one of the tracks I had selected before in early research was the Academy theme from Heroes of Might and Magic 5, and this track would just work as a replacement for the city just as well.
Oh, there you go.
So, I've been kind of staying quiet because I don't have this like in-game context you guys have or we're able to glean from it. My response is actually, this sounds like a darker and more sinister version of the very first song we talked about. It has a lot of the same elements as the song from FGO. And I'm kind of glad these two songs are bookending our playlist because they are so similar and yet so different.
Accidental.
I know. That's why I didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
I totally understood that was an accident.
Oh, yeah. But a happy accident.
Absolutely.
I think mainly the use of what I think might be a form of acoustic guitar in both songs.
Yeah.
The way it's used, I can see that a very strong similarity in that regard.
Magic themes are cool, man.
Yeah, I was kind of spoiled for choice when I decided that I wanted to bring another piece by Pokrovsky, but the main thing was, which are the ones I haven't talked about yet? Because I've talked about a lot of his stuff, which incidentally, while we're at it, I completely missed the timing to mention this last year. But last year was the 10th anniversary of Pokrovsky passing. Which, he's missed. I love Borislav's Lavov, but Pokrovsky is one of my musical heroes. And as a shout out to anyone who likes the music in the Divinity games, if you buy from GOG.com, you get the soundtrack. It comes with the game. While on Steam it doesn't. So get the GOG.
And then you just have the files on your computer. Imagine that.
Plus, Pokrovsky's stuff isn't on streaming. Borislav's Lavov's is, but I'm guessing must be something to do with the fact that he passed away before streaming was a big thing.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, just grab the games from GOG. You get a DRM free version and the soundtrack. It's the best way to go.
Wow, you mean you get a game with your soundtrack? That's amazing. And a perfect transition point to the first thing we're going to talk about in Now Playing.
Yeah, I was gonna make that playlist. It's that transition. Sounds like you were talking about Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to do the intro?
Do us the honors. Say the line, Galen.
Music Arcade, now playing.
The magic that makes the podcast work won't work if you don't say the line.
Oh, God.
Anyway, for starter, it turns out like 2 weeks ago, at time of recording, Arc Systems Works just put out a full version of Guilty Gear Strive live concert they recorded somewhere in, I think, June last year, and it's super cool. It's a very different vibe than from, say, a Primal's concert, because they went with much more of a kind of a house show, a lot more difference between the in-game or recorded version and the live version, lots of tracks interaction. Some through lines are still there, like, unfortunately, the main singer gassing out after about 20 minutes. But then there's another singer that comes in and they alternate, and that helps it. It does get a bit of revision or shortness of breath on a couple of tracks, but overall I just really like that concert energy, and it was a very nice listen, and I appreciate that it's there for free on the official channel. That's super cool.
Yeah.
It does say a lot about the jankiness that is the world of the Guilty Gear songs with vocals. That the top comment on the video right now is, he remembered his lyrics.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell because, well, the female singer that eventually comes up is clearly fluent in both English and Japanese. I can say the same for the male singer. And so we have these very typical Japanese lyrics that are very suggestions of syllables.
Yeah, I've personally always been more of a fan of the instrumental era of Guilty Gear.
And that part, yeah, and the guitars, the bass, the drums, especially the drums, absolutely deliver 100%.
Yeah, there's a block in the middle where they play some
older tracks too, yeah.
Retro tracks. I think they're from Guilty Gear 2. Those are instrumental. Really cool thing.
I believe that would be Guilty Gear X or XX and not 2. 2 was the MOBA.
Yeah, that was the weird one.
Yeah.
I think
it's funny that for how weird Guilty Gear is as a franchise, you say that one's the weird one, and like, yeah, even by those standards.
Yeah, this is a franchise with Batman and Faust, and the weird one is the game that is a MOBA. How weird! Look at that.
Well, the rest of the games are all fighting games, right? Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
That's why it's weird. It's not considered a spin-off like that one Mortal Kombat game, or the one Virtua Fighter game about the spy chick that was basically an MGS clone. Like, it's not a spin-off. It's literally Guilty Gear 2, and it's a totally different genre. This is some Adventures of Link crap.
Indeed.
It's even worse than that, because it's not even the second Guilty Gear game either. I think it's the 6th or 7th.
Naming convention and numbers convention. You're so silly sometimes. Anyway, for other tracks I've listened to and games I've played, Rapid on Steel released like 10 days ago a free complete expansion of the game with basically an entire alternate route with new boss that's essentially 50% more games, including 4 new classes, just for free, just like that.
Great.
And it's awesome. It is absolutely kicking my behind repeatedly, but I like the kind of suffering it delivers. There's so far 2 areas I've managed to beat and been through. One that's a lot about very mean ads that shotgun you in the face. and the other, which is the track in the playlist, that's more about fast-moving, aggro, spinning kind of areas where you have to figure out where it's going to land and where you're going to be. Very dynamic, which explains the kind of tone of the track. The new tracks have all been very good as well. So, love to see it. Next, I've also been playing for a couple of days some Eugenics, the newest Eggman Macmillan game, which is the cat breeding / tactical RPG roguelite. And so far, it's very entertaining. It's the kind of game that does something I generally dislike, where not everything is explicit, a lot of things you just have to kind of infer them on your own, but it feels like it's tonally intentional and that knowledge is a resource that's informal but that you are expected to accrue over time. And it ends up working. I'm not much of an Isaac guy. I look forward to Mid-Boy, but that one was very different on the gameplay side, much more straightforward. This one is complex in a way that so far is working very well. And on the music part, I love it. Because throughout each of the areas, you essentially go through 1 to 3 areas in a single run. And you have the instrumental version of the music with a couple of variations depending on whether you're in menus between levels or in levels themselves. You even have a shop music variation of every track. And then when you get to the boss fight, that's when the vocals kick in. And that's super cool track, super cool integration. It's all I love.
All right.
And finally, and also as a last note for the tracks, first I appreciate that there's a live version that they released to celebrate the game's release, because the tracks have been going around for a pretty long time. I think 18 Watts is at least 3 years old, probably 4.
Wow.
And I just like the overall tone of like the main streets and kind of back alleys where the scariest thing someone could imagine was a teenager in a leather jacket. It's got that tone to it. I like it. And finally, I've actually played some Code Vein 2, and I've basically ignored the first 2 heavily suggested boss area to go straight to the third one, and tremendously enjoyed my repeated suffering as I finally reached a boss and then died repeatedly for 7 to 8 hours across 3 sessions until I basically knew the boss by heart. Somehow, the music track for that boss fight didn't get old by the end, so that's a testament to its quality.
Good. I mean, Code Vein, I have my issues with the game. We've talked about this before. I am not a fan of the multiplayer.
Yeah. And I have a lot of issues with this one in particular.
But the music has always been solid.
Absolutely. This one goes the route of having a main theme and variation depending on each of the main characters or bosses that are involved with it. So it's a case where it works way better in-game than it does listening to the soundtrack in a line, because you end up being more bored of the tracks by having the succession of similar sounding tracks with variation than you do having all of the tasks eventually culminating into that new variation in-game. So that's an interesting note as well. It's a very unequal game, but I appreciate that it's trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
We like people that try to do stuff. And finally, some Zenless Zone Zero, because I keep playing my gachas, and I've hated the last 5 patch cycle of Zenless Zone Zero, with one exception. The main stories had been ones I did not resonate with at all, but it ended last patch and we've started with something new, and they still got it apparently because, singers that are actually a small fry and that go do dangerous jobs, not because they're secretly a descendant of an ancient lineage, but because they need the money to finance their concert, so they gotta take jobs sometimes. I'm into it. Also, the villain is basically an AI therapist. So that feels on the pulse.
Interesting.
Yeah. I really like the soundtrack, and as well with 2 different boss themes that are pretty dynamic, pretty action-packed. I'm into it. But that's all for what I've played over the past 3 weeks. What have you been playing, Gale?
I just mentioned this. I have been playing Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. That was your pick a game from ages ago that I finally got to recently. 140 hours to get through 2 routes. This game is huge.
You have officially played 50% more of this game than I have.
Love it. This game is among the top end of Muso's.
If that's why I recommend it so directly. It's
Dynasty
great.
Warriors 8 XL Complete, Hyrule Warriors 1, and Warriors Odyssey 3 are like the S+ tier of Muso's. This one would fall right into like S- or A+. It is almost there. I have a few complaints about it.
I agreed 100% with your order.
Yeah. My complaints are, 1, there's no, like, adventure mode, which does bother me a lot. 2, there is an army of really cool NPCs in this game that really should have been playable.
Cuff, Judith, cuff.
Not even just Judith, but Leopold von Bergelies, Waldemar von Hevering, like, a lot of, like, there's a whole list. Nadir? Like, Nadir shows up, and I'm like, he should be on the team. This faction doesn't have any actual Wyvern riders. They say Hilda should be, but she's terrible at it. Put her back on the ground as a warrior where she belongs.
Absolutely.
So on and so forth. Third problem is that the character customization / costume / Muso rules of this game do not work the way I want them to at all, and I feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities there.
Yeah. But overall, it feels like the kind of specific pointed criticism that comes from a game that you appreciate in its vast majority.
Oh, yeah. And the soundtrack
from the vibes I've got.
Yeah, and the soundtrack is banging.
Oh, yeah.
I just finished Claude's route yesterday, and the final boss of this, I was informed by my Twitch chat, apparently it's a canon event for a certain character to be singing opera during Claude's final boss, so we get one of those.
Sick.
So I really enjoyed it. I will be getting to the 3rd and final route at some point, and then I intend to do a New Game Plus maddening route of my favorite faction. So we will see how Super Hard Mode goes, and if it's as hard as Warriors Odyssey 3 Super Hard Mode.
Yeah.
Other than that, I used to play Endfield, but I think I'm done with the game at this point, which is kind of a shame.
Indeed. I'm still continuing it, but I fully understand your issues with it. I feel.
The gameplay isn't there. The story really isn't there. Arknights is a franchise well known for its intricate and complex story, and I haven't seen any of that. I've seen little hints of it here and there, grasping at scraps, but I'm just like, I don't care about these bad guys at all.
It's so weird when I never thought about it that way, but the 3 main, I think, characteristics of Arknights are 1, plot, 2, the tower defense gameplay, and 3, the music. And I would say these are the 3 worst part of Enfield.
Yeah, I would fully agree with that.
Like the music, like I said last time when I talked about it, are well integrated in the gameplay, but they are not as notable as what we have in Arknights. The music in your playlist included.
Yeah, in fact, let's actually talk about that as a great point of comparison. Right now, there is a collaboration crossover with Ave Musica, or I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce that. Some Bang Dream show about a band. I think it's a show. I don't know. It's this one silly crossover event, the most disposable of all events in Arknights.
Yeah.
And it has a more engaging story and way better music than anything Enfield has thrown at me.
I believe it.
This is the epitome of I don't care about this, and I find myself caring about it more than anything Enfield has done. That was honestly the nail in the coffin. I'm having more fun with the OG game doing something silly and dumb.
Yeah. And honestly, I remember in the Gathering of Gacha days that basically you played some other games and then had some issues with risk of spending, and the spending structures for Arknights and Enfield are pretty different in a way that might be more on the risky end of you.
Oh, yeah.
For you on Enfield's end. So.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm just going to explain a little thing here. This is a bad sign if you ask me, because with one exception, all of my most anticipated characters in Enfield were all just remakes of actual Arknights characters. Most notably, the very first banner featuring Levitain, aka Surtur, who is a character who I've never totally vibed with in Arknights until Kira Buckland started voicing her. Then all of a sudden she's like, and I'm like, I really need her in Enfield because I want to play as a version of her I actually like mechanically. And I did. But that was about as close as I got to spending, and given my history of gambling addiction, that's bad. I did give Enfield $6. I did the $5 monthly card and the $1 starter pack.
Which is entirely fair.
Yeah, I don't want to not support the game that I played. That doesn't make any sense either, but I also don't want to break the bank.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the way this is set up, like, the gacha system in this kind of forces you to actually go to full pity or don't pull at all.
Yeah.
And then putting two Arknights characters right after each other, I'm low-key insulted by that, because that really does feel like...
It's a 1-2 punch.
It is. It feels like a trap for Arknights players. It's literally banking on nostalgia. I don't like this. I feel creepy. I feel like...
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, I may come back to Enfield if I hear the story's improved. I'll suffer through it, but if this is ARR, I think I might be waiting till Heaven's Word.
Yeah, there is a bit of that in the second region, but right now, of course, that second region story isn't finished. It's going to take a couple of patches of story in order to reach the conclusion. It's starting with some cool part. I'm having more fun there than in the starter area, even though I like the vibe of the starter area more.
We shall see. I'm not writing it off entirely like I did with Genshin, but
yeah.
Right now, there isn't enough to keep me in the game, so I'm done with Enfield for now.
Entirely fair.
And finally, I want to go ahead and talk about the concert that I saw. I should have put in a song for now playing, but I wanted to talk about the Distant Worlds show that I saw with Rai. We went to Vegas to see this. It was Arnie Roth doing Arnie Roth things.
Wonderful.
Yep, but most notably, this was a celebration of Masayoshi Soken's music from Final Fantasy XIV to Final Fantasy XVI, and it included singer Amanda Aiken, who I adore.
Yeah.
And it was really cool seeing her live again, especially from seats that weren't, like, pretty far back there. She played her two, like, most notable songs from 14 in the form of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Flow. And then she played the one song from 16, I believe, called My Star. She's fantastic. I love the fact they did it.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. I complain about Arnie Roth at this point because I've been seeing this guy for like 10 years plus now doing these concerts, and I've gotten his style. But sometimes it's nice to just sit back and go, yeah, they're playing my music right now. I like this.
Yeah.
And in a big surprise, they played a song from Stormblood that was not my first... I was not something I was expecting at all. Being Songs of Salt and Suffering, the music plays at the Locks, which is kind of a niche track in the giant FF14 soundtrack. So the fact they played that was really cool. I'm glad I got to hear that live.
We like a deep cut every now and then.
We do, and Arnie is pretty bad about those. So I'm pretty sure the only reason we got it is because it was on the Eorzean Symphony playlist, and therefore sheet music was already available and didn't have to be arranged. But
it's free real estate.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good and I'm happy.
We love to hear it. And what has made you good and happy, Eddie?
Oh boy. The last few weeks have been a time of a lot of gaming for some reason on my end. I've
Good.
experimented a lot of games via the Game Pass. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it sure looks like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'll do a quick fire round of what I've been playing. So starting with
That's
the
no
most
playing, yeah?
yeah, starting with the most nostalgic stuff. Day of the Tentacle Remastered. This is an old point-and-click adventure from LucasArts.
Yep.
The game is very cartoony. I've been playing with the developer commentary on, and they straight up name drop Looney Tunes as an influence for the art style and the music. So it is exactly that. I've also played some Diablo 2 Resurrected because it's on the Game Pass now, and I played Diablo 2 a lot when I was a teenager slash kid.
You and every other people who were teenager at the time.
Yeah, basically. Weirdly enough, I hadn't played an assassin before.
Oh, that's
though
super cool.
That's exactly the kind of character I play a lot in action-based games. So
Okay.
I'm trying assassin now, and the soundtrack is the same as the original version, so of course I still adore it. It's dark folk.
Yeah.
On our last episode, I mentioned Rise of Nations, and that gave me an itch to play some Rise of Nations, so I played some Rise of Nations. I still absolutely love the soundtrack. Dwayne Decker was great with that franchise. Shame we never got the sequel. But still. I've also been playing Command and Conquer Red Alert 3.
Hell yeah.
I think I played a demo or something when I was a kid. I never actually played the full version when I was a kid. I was a teenager. I'm not that old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never actually played the full version. I'm played now, and I am god awful at it. Surprising, surprisingly, the mechanics are very different between can be very different between RTSs, and I'm used to the Age of Empires / StarCraft style of RTS, so I'm still getting used to the Command and Conquer style. But it's been, of course, I'm having a lot of fun because you have George Takei, J.K. Simmons, and Tim Curry being their best selves, so it is very fun.
And if you continue after you had your feel of Red Alert 3 and go to Uprising, you'll even have the campaign designed by Supergiant Games before there were Supergiant Games.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm not burnt out by then, because that is on the Game Pass. Like, the entire collection of Command & Conquer is on EA Play, and you get EA Play through the PC Game Pass. So here's hoping. But speaking of the PC Game Pass, another game that's on the Game Pass is Star Wars Outlaws. I've actually finally been trying it out, and it's surprisingly fun. Like, I was expecting something fairly generic by Ubisoft, and it does have some Ubisoftisms that annoy me a lot. But
if nothing else, the fact that we haven't had a torrent of hatred on this game is probably because it finds way to work and be good, and so there's no sense to punch down and bully it.
Yeah, people were very annoyed at it at launch because they had a lot of, from what I understand, they had a lot of stealth missions where it was an instant fail if you got seen by anyone.
No, that's unfortunate.
They nerfed that a bit. So far I haven't had any trouble. I've actually been having a lot of fun with the Syndicate Reputation mechanic, which is in Warcraft terms, it's basically like in the Burning Crusade, where you could reach Shattrath and you could choose between two factions, which one to ally yourself to.
Yeah.
Think that, but instead of two factions, it's four factions, and instead of picking one for life, you can keep betraying one another for your own gains, for whatever objective you have, whether you want specific gear, specific amount of money, specific parts for your ship or your blaster. And they can, in fact, hate you enough to send kill squads, or they can love you enough to let you just pick their base clean of anything that isn't bolted to the ground. So it's
cool.
a reputation mechanic that's actually well implemented. It's actually interesting. It's not just a binary choice. And finally, I never expected to bring up mobile gaming in this section, but I've actually got a new phone because my old phone was getting old.
Okay.
What
So I
game
had a
have you
mid-range-
fired on your new phone, then?
Yeah, so it's a mid-range phone. It's not like a big thing, so I'm not gonna get one of those very graphically intensive games.
Probably
So,
something 2D would be nice.
Yeah, so I've been playing Arknights
You play Arknights?
What?
momentarily.
The prophecy is complete. Reality has shattered.
I'm sure it's a magical moment for Gillen. I hadn't told Gillen before, but I had told Rana because we both were waiting for Gillen's response. But yeah, I have actually been trying Arknights out a little bit.
Okay.
Not too much because my new phone screen is actually smaller than the previous one, even though it's better in every other sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my hands are just like it gets cramped. But yeah, it's the gameplay is fun. I'm still doing like the early story missions, and I'll be honest, if I hadn't known the game through you guys, I probably would have thrown my phone across the room when I saw Instructor Doberman. But other than that, it's been interesting so far. Of course, I haven't quite gotten to the part where the soundtrack really gets very interesting. I'm very into it. I'm not sure how much I'll play because I'm not much of a mobile gamer because my fingers are too big, and this kind of game playing on desktop feels weird to me. But I might end up playing on desktop. Who knows? But it is a cool. Like I thought it would be. It is a cool little tower defense game.
Indeed, it is.
It is. I'm looking forward to helping you out via friend code. I can give you extra oomph if you need.
I want to try out at least the early story, the early chapters first, to see whether I will actually stick with the game.
That's fair.
Right now, I'm very unsure.
Fair enough.
Not for any fault of the game itself, but just because I have big hands and a small phone.
I have... Yeah, fair.
It's kind of the reason why I'm considering getting a tablet for that one rhythm game that's going to release probably somewhat soon.
Yeah, you'd probably want a tablet for a rhythm game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been the last 3 weeks for me.
And with that, that's all the time we have for this very interesting and magical episode of the Music Arcade. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, you can find a playlist of the songs we talked about in the description below. We are also on Blue Sky. Come find us and say hey.
Links are in the description as well.
And until next time,
Teleport
folks.
away.
Yeah, what Rana said. Take care, guys.
See ya.